We often find ourselves navigating really difficult landscapes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And few feel quite as overwhelming, maybe, as
Yeah.
loss and grief.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough one.
It really is. So today, we're not going to tiptoe around it.
Mm.
We're going straight into this source we have. It's chapter 1 of something called, it's achieh1.pdf.
Right.
And the goal really is to pull out the vital understanding of what grief actually is. For you, listener, whether you're in it now or, trying to help someone else through it.
Yeah, and what strikes you right away with this source is how unflinchingly honest it is. It just cuts through a lot of the, let's say, comforting things people often say about grief. The main argument right from the start is basically that pain you feel. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's as bad as it feels.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ways we try to console people or even understand them, they don't land. They miss the mark.
Exactly. The author really doesn't pull any punches, just states it plainly. This really is as bad as you think.
Yeah.
No sugarcoating, no easing into it. It's just, bam, confirmation. And it hammers home this kind of unchangeable reality.
Mm.
What has happened cannot be made right.
Mm-hmm.
What is lost cannot be restored.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a stark truth, and it kind of clashes with so much of the advice we usually get, doesn't it?
It really does. And it highlights something really fundamental, a core need the source points to. Having your grief seen, acknowledged.
Right. Not a fix.
Not fixed, exactly. Not offered solutions, but
Yes.
just for someone to see your grief, to acknowledge it. And the author puts forward this idea that feels so relatable. Some things cannot be fixed, they can only be carried.
Mm-hmm. Carried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shift, From a problem you solve to a weight you bear, that feels really important.
It completely changes how you look at it because the source is so clear.
Yeah.
When loss hits, everything shifts.
Everything.
Even if you kind of saw it coming, maybe an expected death, the actual impact is still like a shockwave, the future you had planned.
Gone. Vaporized is the word they use.
Yeah. And the world just feels like it splits open. Nothing works the way it did. Your whole personal timeline just feels shattered.
And that shattering, it creates ripples, right? The source goes into detail, like time itself feels weird.
Yeah.
It might slow right down or get all distorted and unreliable. And then there's that mental replay loop, wishing things were different.
Constantly replaying it.
And the ordinary world, the one everyone else is still in, suddenly feels, what was the phrase? Coarse and cruel.
Yeah, like you're completely disconnected from it.
Wow.
And the physical stuff too, right? The source mentions that.
Definitely. Huge shifts in eating and sleeping.
Either can't eat at all or you're eating constantly.
Exactly. Or you can't sleep. Or you just sleep all the time. Total exhaustion.
Right. And then there's that really poignant detail about everyday objects becoming artifacts.
Oh, yeah.
Like these physical echoes of the life that was or the life that could have been. It paints such a vivid picture of grief, just seeping into absolutely everything.
Yeah, everywhere. As the source puts it so, well, definitively, there is no place this loss has not touched.
Which makes the next part about typical grief support so critical.
Right, because if you're feeling that level of pain, hearing those well-meaning, maybe, but kind of empty platitudes,
Oh, yeah.
it can actually make you feel more alone. Things like, they wouldn't want you to be sad, or everything happens for a reason.
Or even the encouraging ones like, this will make you stronger. Those stock phrases people reach for.
Mm-hmm.
The source really nails why they're just not helpful. It's because they completely miss the scale of the loss.
They minimize it.
Yeah. It's not a small thing. It's a fundamental dismantling. And when people offer these simple reassurances, it feels like your real deep pain is just being ignored,
Yeah.
brushed aside.
Like the source says, this isn't a paper cut. It's not a crisis of confidence. It's something much, much bigger.
Exactly. And this leads to a really important reframing in the source material. There's nothing wrong with grief. It's a natural extension of love.
Ah, that flips the whole script, doesn't it?
Completely. Instead of grief being this like illness or something you need to rush through and get over,
Right.
it's presented as, well, healthy.
Right.
A rational response to losing someone or something you love deeply.
That feels freeing, just hearing that.
It really does. The source emphasizes that feeling terrible, feeling like you're going crazy even when you're
Ah.
grieving. That's normal.
Okay.
It connects the grief directly to love. Love for the person, sure, but also love for life, for yourself, for others. So this intense pain is actually proof of how deep that love was or is.
Wow. Okay.
And the source argues we need to talk about grief in real terms.
Yeah.
Not like it's a disease, not as pathology, and definitely not with some false hope that everything will just magically be okay again.
Real terms. And it also broadens the scope beyond what we might think of as normal grief, right?
Yes, exactly. It makes a distinction. This isn't about everyday disappointments, the stuff we all face.
Right, like losing a job or something.
Yeah. This part focuses on losses that fundamentally rearrange the world. Deaths, events that just shatter your basic understanding of, well, of everything.
And the examples it gives are really, they hit hard. They show how fragile and unpredictable life can be.
Definitely. Things like, accidents, sudden illnesses, disasters, natural or human caused, violent crimes,
Yeah.
suicides.
And it mentions underground losses, too.
Yeah, like stillbirth.
Yeah.
Things people don't always talk about. These aren't just expected losses. They're often sudden, traumatic. They leave a very specific kind of devastation.
And the source gives these stark examples. A young person paralyzed instantly, a wife seeing her husband shot, a tsunami, a sudden cancer diagnosis, a humanitarian worker hit by a bus.
Victims of hate crimes, a child with a terrible illness, an unexpected death out of nowhere, a suicide that wasn't recognized. Awful world-shattering events.
What's really striking is how the source points out that our usual ways of talking, our usual support systems, they often just aren't adequate for these kinds of losses.
Right. There isn't always a neat reason why. No easy answer.
And the author says it directly. Not every loss can be transformed into something useful. Things happen that do not have a silver lining.
That honesty feels so necessary because it validates those experiences that feel completely isolating, impossible to make sense of.
Which leads into this idea of survival, doesn't it?
It does. The source speaks right to you, the listener, who might be in this life you didn't ask for, in this life you didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it offers this really powerful validation. You are not okay. You might not ever be okay.
And that's okay?
Exactly. There's no pressure to bounce back or find some hidden meaning. The focus is different. It's about living inside the loss, carrying what can't be fixed, just surviving.
And crucially, it says that survival, that process, it won't follow some neat little checklist, no 5 stages necessarily.
Right. It won't match up with what other people expect, maybe. It's your own path.
And it has to start with that basic truth. This really is as bad as you think. That acknowledgement is the foundation, right, for living with it, for living alongside the love that's still there.
Yeah. And then the source gives a little roadmap for what comes next in the material. It's structured in 4 parts.
Okay.
The reality of loss, which we've mostly covered from chapter 1. Then, what to do with grief, how friends and family fit in, and finally, the way forward.
And it includes real voices, right? Excerpts from people actually grieving.
Yes, which adds so much, makes it feel very grounded. And it also notes that grief isn't linear. You don't just move steadily forward.
No, it's messy.
Totally. So you, the listener, can explore the source in whatever order feels right, in manageable pieces.
In this first chapter, it kind of sets the stage by looking at how our culture deals with grief, or often how it doesn't deal with it very well.
Right. Why does looking at that big picture matter, especially when you're right in the thick of early grief?
Well, the source suggests it helps you feel less alone. It validates that feeling of dissonance, that gap between what you're feeling inside and what the world seems to expect from you.
Yeah. The author shares this really affecting personal story about feeling like a homeless woman after her partner died, just completely adrift, while society, and even like professional advice, is talking about stages and getting back to normal.
Right, that feeling that what passes for support is truly nothing at all.
Exactly. It highlights that grief is visceral, not reasonable. It's raw. It's love in its most wild form, as the source puts it.
Love in its most wild form. That's powerful.
Isn't it? And this first part explores why we, as a culture, kind of struggle to just sit with that wildness, that intensity.
But even acknowledging that it can't be fixed, the source does offer some direction, right, towards tending to it.
It does. It suggests that just validating the experience, having these honest conversations about how bad it really is, that can make a difference.
Even if it doesn't take the loss away.
Exactly. It doesn't erase it, but it can maybe ease some of the isolation around it. It sort of prepares you to think about, okay, how do I move forward while carrying this?
Okay, so boiling it down from this first chapter, the key takeaways are really about validation.
Yeah, I think so. Your pain is real. It's legitimate. It really is as bad as you think.
And those common responses, the platitudes, often not helpful, can even be harmful.
Right. And the way forward isn't about fixing it, but acknowledging it fully, learning how to carry it, and understanding that grief is tied to love. It's a natural expression of it.
Mm-hmm. And it leaves you with that really profound thought, doesn't it, from the source itself.
Which one?
Loving each other means losing each other.
Yeah. That just stops you in your tracks.
It really does. It forces you to think about needing to learn how to live with pain, how to
Mm.
care for ourselves and each other in that pain,
Hmm.
how to exist in a world where life can just change completely, forever, in an instant.
It makes you really contemplate I guess, the fragility of it all and the enduring power of love, even when
Oh,
faced with loss.
absolutely.
It's heavy stuff to sit with. And truly, if you, our listener, are in a place where this hits close to home, we're genuinely sorry you have need of this information.
We are.
But we also really appreciate you engaging with it. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.